This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
What is the sound of one hand clapping? What is the sound of one fist punching? What is the sound of the IronCast? Greetings, students. I, as always, am your guide on the path to Kunlun, Charlie, the Professor Esser. And with me, as always, is my skinny rich friend.
It's Mozz.
Hey, Mozz. So glad you're here. So glad you're here. Tonight's episode, Season 2, Episode 4, Target, Iron. Joy's interrogation of Mary takes a turn. Misty gives Danny an earful. Ward extends an olive branch. Davos makes a crucial discovery. Our director this week is MJ Bassett. Writers, of course, we have Roy Thomas and Gil Kane getting their Marvel credits for creating the characters. And then, of course, we have Jenny Lin gets a written by credit this week. Matthew White and Tatiana Suarez-Pica are both executive story editors this week. Jenny Lin, also a story editor, just not an executive. This is an interesting episode just because it starts, and to me it's very weird how it starts and stops, especially coming from the previous episode, because it opens up with Danny on the ground, bleeding.
Beaten and bloody, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, wait, how did we get to that? And the first time
Yeah, did I miss something?
Yeah, the first time I watched it, I was like, wait, is this a reference to to him getting, from the fight, in the previous episode when the what do you call it went down? But no, this is actually just a flash forward that we get to again at the end of the episode. When we do come through, we see Danny sort of regretting the choices he made at the meeting, the parlay, and we realize they're having these difficulties, and I believe that, and of course, Colleen, she's being a good girlfriend. She's trying to support him and say, it's you didn't know, and this and that, and, but he's very much beating himself up. Now, does Misty come in at that point, or no?
No, she comes in, meets them a little later.
A little later, that's right. Okay, so, yeah, this is a very talky episode, without a doubt. Although one of the things I really like about this episode is we get a lot of good Kunlun flashback with Davos.
I think that's the next episode.
That's the next episode?
Yeah, with his mom and the whole nine. I don't think we get too much of that there.
No, I thought we got that here, because the next episode it's very much after oh no. I'm trying to remember where we're at. Sorry. So yeah, there's a lot. When we do watch these things back to back, and then it's they do tend to blend together.
Yeah, they go. This is where Danny goes to see Mrs. Wong and talks to Mr. Wong on the bed, notices the bruise, and realizes that it's a super secret Kunlun technique that's been applied here.
Thanks for helping orient me, Mozz. That's why you are my skinny rich friend. So they do go to Mrs. Wong to sort of see if they can revive the parlay, and she has basically said that it's kind of a no-go at this point.
Yeah, because they've already taken the ducks.
Exactly, and it is a they can't just find peace after they've after the Golden Tigers have taken such a bold act. So Danny goes to talk to, and Danny finds out, of course, that Mr. Wong has had a stroke, and he goes to speak with him, and he I was waiting for him to do, because he can use the Iron Fist to heal. They have shown him do that in the past, but he that's not apt to do that here.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be some sort of secret Kunlun combination lock thing that he just puts the pressure points back in the same order that they were touched in, and all of a sudden he's well again. I'm kind of glad they didn't go that route, but I am kind of like a little bit like, come on, he just had a stroke, and all of a sudden now he's choosing to say these words.
Yeah, well, I guess, he knows that, for what it's worth, he knows who attacked him. He knows why he was attacked. And if nothing else, he knows that if anyone can kick this guy's butt, it's going to be Danny Rand. So, from a purely selfish motivation, I can see why Wong does make that choice. Why he sort of uses all of his powers to make the statement of what's really going on. And he gives him the code of Hancock 212. Which they don't know, and of course, as he's just saying that over and over again, Hancock 212, it causes him to go into cardiac arrest and all this kind of stuff, and everyone thinks, why are you tormenting the poor sick man, Danny? And he's like, well, what does that mean? That has to do with who killed him, yada, yada, yada. And then he explains to Colleen when they do get out that, yes, this is a secret Kunlun technique, and only 2 people in the world could even attempt it right now. And that's me and Davos, which is how they know Davos is up to. At that point is when Misty saunters up on them. And basically, you think it's being all social, but it's like, no, this is business. And, this actually, you had made a statement about at the end of Luke Cage about Misty kind of realizing that the vigilante way is not the right way for her. Which, we had a disagreement. I thought that was where she was at. But here we do see that she very much is back to being a cop.
Yeah.
And not really liking the vigilante shenanigans. Especially because they reveal that one of the guys who got beat up was actually an undercover cop. And the guys that Denny saw outside were actually cops about to make their move.
Yeah.
And he basically blew both the sting and the parlay, although, for what it's worth, if they had done this thing, then Mrs. Wong would have been arrested as well. So, maybe at the end of the day, he actually made the right move, as far as anything else goes. Yeah. But, but Misty is and Misty lets him know that, it might be a shipping container for this Hancock shipping company. And they do go back to their place, and, Danny's trying to say, well, I need to go to the container, and Misty's like, no, you let the cops handle it. And then he's like, oh, now I have to go to the bathroom, and then he's gone for a while. Well, Misty and Colleen have a nice heart-to-heart, and they do have a very good heart-to-heart, but then they realize that Danny went to go deal with Davos on his own. We do have Joy and Davos, I believe prior to this, confronting Walker. Yeah. Or was it just Mary? It was just Mary. It was just Joy at this point confronting Walker.
Because Davos leaves. He talks to her for a second, but she's not responding to Davos's methods, so Joy gets her to leave.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and... although Joy is having her own difficulties, she keeps touching her stuff, and she does not like that. And, but they do eventually come to their understanding, and she does reveal to Joy that she is suffering from this dissociative identity disorder. Which, of course, always raises that question, like, who is actually the real identity?
Right.
And who is
who is Jack and who is Tyler Durden?
Exactly. I think we get a bit of that answer, and it's not the answer you might have thought next episode. But we'll get to that next episode. Now, as as they're having this conversation, there is this pretty basic conversation that they have about, are you able to handle this? And basically, Mary Walker essentially says she is. That she can handle this still. She's on it. And she's going to complete the mission as directed. And, Joy takes her takes her at face, and says, I have faith in you on this. So that's a pretty good thing.
I mean,
You
she had to put her big boy britches on for a second, and had to be a tough badass because she had to put up with what Mary or what's her other name? Walker does.
Walker. Her actual name, I believe, is Mary Walker, but she goes by Mary when
Right.
she's the nice one, and Walker when she's the less.
Yeah,
nice one.
not to react to the chokehold that she puts on her, and just keeps the goal and the business at the forefront.
Yeah, well, and for what it's worth, I think that is very much an aspect of Joy as a character. I think she is a person who is, very much all business, tries to be all business, and, for what it's worth, probably more often than not succeeds at being mostly business, if not all business.
Right. In that moment, she kind of reminded me a little bit of the councilwoman from Luke Cage, Mariah Stokes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Well, they do.
Like shades of that character being born inside of her.
Yeah. And it is interesting. It's certainly the maybe white privileged Mariah story.
Right.
Because, of course, and her family likewise is one of questionable moral actions and tasks, and she has been pulled into it in ways that maybe she did not personally desire to do so, and, of course, also feels that, more authority was vested in the male offspring than her. So there's a lot of very interesting dynamic with Joy. The dynamic which I think Ward undoes a bit in this, because we do get the meeting with Ward and Joy here, where Ward basically says he bought the plant that she was going to buy. Correct? Or was that last episode?
No, that's here.
That is here, yeah. And she basically says, you don't get to control me.
Right.
And, and you realize how much people have been, how she feels out of the loop and manipulated. And one imagines that is very much the impetus for her desire to work with Davos, is that he is, that she is trying to reclaim her own identity. Though I think as it is moving forward, I think she starts to see that maybe she sort of made a deal with the devil. Right. And, you never want to give the devil his due.
Right.
We do see that Danny does get to the tanker or the container after Davos. We do get to see Davos basically, be Davos and not care.
Creepy little guy that he is.
Yeah, he is just the the Kundalinian ninja warrior, and he goes in and quickly dispatches the three guys that were put in charge of, the docks today. Really ruined their whole shift, and then we see what the actual document or the actual item that they were looking for was. Which was, of course, a previous Iron Fist.
Right.
Which is interesting, to say the least. Not the least of which, it's just interesting that, I guess his body died outside of Kunlun and, was never returned for proper services. One imagines this is maybe one of the Iron Fists that Madame Gao said she killed.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because you do recall that she did say... Yeah. Danny would not be the first Iron Fist that she ever killed. And if he was killed, then his body was kept by the hand. Perhaps, as we see later, trying to figure out how to wrest the power of the Iron Fist from the corpse of a former Iron. Because we do see where we're going with this in the near future. Sorry, little Yanni. And we do get to see after that, they realize, and it's interesting because I don't think that Danny realizes it's an Iron Fist when he gets there. Because the mask is off and the chest has been cut. The
tattoo has been cut off.
Yeah, well, not the tattoo, the scar. Which I actually think is an important point of order in this.
Interesting.
something to make a note is that when Danny always says it's not a tattoo,
Right.
it's a burn. That's where Shaolao burnt me. Now, when we actually see Davos undergoing the ritual, we see he very clearly is getting a tattoo.
Yeah.
And it strikes me that, and of course, I think that is maybe going a way to tell us that what he's getting isn't the real Iron Fist. It's going to work like the Iron Fist. It's going to empower him to where he feels like he has the Iron Fist.
Interesting.
But it isn't really the Iron Fist. It's really some approximate, sort of, it's an approximation, provided, by demons at the cost of your soul, essentially. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
I think
but then why doesn't Danny have it anymore? If it's not the real.
Well, that's next episode. Well, there's lots of reasons, not the least of which is just, not for nothing, the guy has been pretty messed up, and let's not forget that at the end of during the fight scene that's about to come up, Mary does inject him with a drug, and we have seen in the past that there are drugs that make it so that he cannot focus.
Oh, that's a
draw
great
upon the
point.
Iron Fist. We remember that from the very first season when the Meachums sort of put him in the loony bin.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also get we have some nice conversations this episode. We get Ward. Is Ward and his girlfriend this episode?
Yeah.
The nurse, the anesthesiologist, where they're basically, and they're just, it's a nice couple conversation,
Yeah.
And it is about them dealing with their problems and their concerns. We also get, of course, the conversation between Misty and Colleen about what their relationships really are with these people, and how they're going to it's partially about their relationship to Danny, but more about Colleen's relationship with her vigilante side,
Right.
how she's going to deal with this. Is she going to deal with this? Is this something that's going to be a dominance in her life? Because she wants to walk away, but there is this idea, but she still has the sword.
Right. It's interesting. Their conversation, it really seems like Misty's trying to see if she's going to be a problem or not. And I love what she says to her in the car. He goes, "Your part is clean. As far as I'm concerned, you're clean." She's sort of trying to make an ally to sort of inadvertently thinking that she's helping Danny, but to rat on Danny in a sense. So
yeah, and for what it's worth,
at the end there, Colleen lets her know too, puts her on notice. It's like, if you got to do your job too, we'll lay off, but if I still keep seeing things, I have to react. I don't want to. Believe me, you can see I don't want to, but you have to do your job too.
Yes, and yes, without a doubt, I think that is what we're looking at here, which is, as we've said, there's this constant question about what do you do with this power, and I think that this was the central question of Luke Cage, which was, will Luke Cage, use his power to maintain the order, essentially becoming, the vigilante warlord that people fear he could become. And again, we see Danny struggling with this same conflict as he's trying to broker peace and, maintain safety in the streets of Chinatown and Hell's Kitchen, the old lower Manhattan area. And I think that when you see that, when you're dealing with that conflict of what are our limitations as a hero, I think that question, that desire to have that moral debate, really is what makes one a hero. Because I think, as we see with Davos, next episode, the fact that there is no debate for Davos, there is no question. Once I have power, this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
That it shows the inherent villainy of Davos in that.
Right.
Which is something I think we've been leading up to. As I've said last episode, that I feel the reason why Davos wasn't given the Iron Fist was because he could not show mercy.
Well, it's funny because you see that I think it all stems from his mother. I think it in the end comes down to bad parenting. I mean, I don't think he was inherently that kind of a person even then, because in the next episode we have this moment where his mother admonishes him for even thinking about having compassion or sympathy. So, I think he's a broken person whose fault can be laid at someone else's feet as well.
Yeah, well, but you know what? At a certain point, you're a grown-up man.
Yeah.
And that's the flip side to the pancake, It's like, your mama made that pancake, but you flipped it, or you made the choice to burn it on the side you're at.
Yeah.
So, it's, like I say, it's a very complex thing. We don't get a lot of action in this episode.
No.
I feel that all the action I think we get a lot more action next episode.
Right.
But this episode, I think it's all gets saved for a big final battle between Mary and Danny. And one of the things I really like about this episode is how we see Mary using various techniques to keep herself from slipping back into the Mary persona. Walker is she's got the white noise headphones on. Mm-hmm. She's got the sunglasses on so the bright lights don't or so that when this thing starts sparking, it doesn't pull her out of her persona. All these things she's doing to maintain the Walker identity against the
Mary persona.
Yeah, the Mary persona, which of course is always a threat to her. And it is very interesting because it does seem to be this case where, Walker's the one paying the bills. Walker's the one, handling things. And Mary just sort of flits through life, drawing pretty pictures, as she says.
Right.
Yeah. But we do get to see that Walker is very much a BA on this. She throws down with Danny, and granted, Danny is taken aback by her because he knows who Mary is, and so it is something that is pushing him to not be certain of his own footing, which I think, of course, is intentional, and makes for a great dichotomy with this idea that we have from this previous idea. Because Danny has this personal knowledge of this person, it does make him hesitate, which is why he does get captured,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And and one of the things I have to say, one of my favorite scenes in this is when Danny does the shockwave blast on the floor, and Mary actually sort of jumps at the moment so that she actually dodges it.
And she hides behind the pillar.
Yeah. I thought that was really great. Yeah. For numerous reasons, but not the least of which is just she does make this point earlier about why you need her for Danny, and it's because she's been studying him. And one imagines that probably includes studying him when he's being the Iron Fist.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, that would be my take on that.
Giving her plenty of material to study by going out and fighting every night.
Anyway, so we see that Danny is taken by Mary and is taken to Davos and the Crane sisters. That's who they are identified with. And they begin the ritual, which includes burning the old Iron Fist's scar.
Okay. I couldn't understand what that had to do with anything.
Well, they turn it to ash, and then he drinks it. So that is like the potion of power. And they mix it with the current Iron Fist's blood, because that's why they stabbed Danny. And then I think that is maybe what they use to
tattoo him. They took Danny's blood. I thought they were tattooing him with Danny's blood.
Something like that. It might have been the blood and the ash mixed together. Not 100% sure, but yeah, they definitely tattoo him with the aspects of the Iron Fist. And like I said, I think that is maybe something that we're supposed to understand, that this process doesn't really... that he did not actually face Shao Lao. He did not actually plunge his fist into Shao Lao's molten heart, which is how Danny has described it getting the Iron Fist. So I think there was this very real question about what the power that Davos has now unleashed really is. Does it have an expiration date on it? You know, does he have any real control over it, or is it going to start to control him? And I think that is our central question. Any other thoughts for tonight's episode, Mozz?
No, that's pretty much it. It got me. I think the next episode is much more exciting. This was good. Yeah, it was a lot of character building and relationship building a lot in this one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we really only got one really good fight in this one, and then basically, you know, the ritualistic stabbing of Danny and the tattooing of Davos. So. But it opens big next episode, so we will get to that in a few minutes on our time and in 1 week on your time, for listeners. Mozz, in the meantime, how can people reach out to you and touch you?
Oh, they can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
And, of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our Mozz and Poz once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter as I live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Cloak and Dagger and so many other great shows @CharlieEsser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality.
Oh, dear students. This concludes our lesson on the path to Kunlun. Remember, the path of the Iron Fist is not a path to a door, but a road leading forever into the horizon. Please step with us again into the IronCast. I don't want to do Cage Cast.
It's catchy.
I miss it so. Yes. Next week, dear students. Good.